Good morning, YouTube. This video is on creating an assembly from the parts we created in a couple of previous videos. So in the previous video, we created an upper and lower bracket, and now we're going to create a bent rod, assemble the three pieces together, and then throw them into the 3D printer. First steps we're going to take is to make the bent rod. And here we go. We're going to draw in an 8mm diameter circle. Use that as the base, and based on the current zoom, it's really small, so we're just going to zoom in here. Then we're going to add in a long straight piece going upwards. I believe the unit's 90 for this one. And we're going to scroll up and add in another bar of 90 degrees to that. And that's going to have units of 50 and an angle of 0. The particular bent rod I'm trying to model has a right angle corner, but it's kind of got a bit of a fillet to it. So I'm going to add a fillet of 5 millimeters. All right, so there's my little straight two sections and a curve. I'm going to add a sweep to this. So for the sweep, you select the path first, then you select the object that you're going to sweep. So there I've selected the path, and now I'm going to select the object being swept. It didn't seem to take, so I'm just going to go double check and make sure I have everything right. We're on the second step, and now we have the sweep path. I'm just going to leave it with the default name of Swept Protrusion 1. All right, the bent rod is done. Now what we're going to do is create an assembly of the active model. What this will allow us to do is import a bunch of different parts all into the same model and then line them up and see how they look. I want you to notice that there is a difference between the headers now. The first one said Solid Edge 2021 part. This one says Solid 2020. This says Solid Edge 2021 assembly. All right, so insert component, and we're just going to give it a moment to refresh here. We're going to go and drag and drop in the bottom plate. And the orientation of the blue diagram can be changed, and that is the orientation that the model is actually going to come in with. Repeat for the top bracket, and just drag and drop it in. You can escape or right-click to finish the command, and there's my three parts. In the assembly view, it's very easy to rotate a part around. By default, you are no longer working with surfaces. You are working with the whole geometry. So here I've flipped the geometry by 180 degrees. Now I'm going to axially align the rod with the holes in my model. First part, and then select the second part. Again, select the first part, then go and find the center, select the second part. I'm going to repeat that for the bottom bracket. And depending on the geometry, often the first part selected will move, but that's not always the case. Now we're using the mate command, and I'm going to select the first surface I want to mate, and then I'm going to select the second surface that I want to mate. All right, there's our completed model. Now we're going to jump in and tell it to 3D print things. Sometimes this can take a fairly long time. Once we've looked at the model, all the parts are there, looks good, we'll export. And then we'll load up the Prusa slicer. Once the Prusa slicer is loaded, we'll drag and drop the 3MF file into the Prusa slicer. It'll take a moment to read the file and then we're going to slice it up. Alright, so here we have an error message that says this file contains several objects with multiple bodies. No, I do not want to join them together this time. Very particularly, I have 3 parts to this model, and I want to keep those 3 parts separate. I'm also deleting the bent rod because this is a physical metal rod that I have, and I don't need to 3D print that part. I'm going to rotate the box, a cube, around on its faces, and then realign the geometry, slice the model, and just take a quick look at what it comes out as. As we mentioned in the previous video, the rounds on the bottom edge here are going to cause a bit of problem because the angle is too steep for the 3D printer, but ultimately the print should still be successful. I think this is going to work out quite nicely. Thank you for watching.